I am moderating today's panel, and today's panel is based on the theme of music business. And I've been doing this for a really long time. So I'm 26 right now, but I've been doing this since I was 14 as a performer, as a songwriter, as a producer. And so I've seen my own side of the industry as a creative, but being in it from my 20s and being in it as like a young person, I haven't done. So today I'm talking to people who are my age but are in the industry and know what the next generation and what the new landscape is about to be saying, and they're going to be giving you their tips on how they're going to be adapting to the new landscape of the music industry. And so today I'll be talking to people on the panel. With me are Jodeci Chin, who's a radio presenter and junior manager, music and talent at Vevo and Represent. Wave to the people. Hi, Jodeci. And we've also got Ruumi, who's A&R manager at Columbia Records. And we have KOSI SOMPETA, junior marketing manager at Parlaphone. We have Whitney Boatang, junior promoter at Live Nation. We have Daisy Carberry, who's a marketing coordinator at Frontline Recordings, BMG. And we have Preye Crooks, A&R manager at Columbia Records and co-founder of Strawberries and Cream Festival. So we have an amazing bunch of people with us who have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience, but also young and coming up and totally, or was I about to say hip? No, it's not about hip because hip sounds dumb. All right, I'm gonna move on. So I have some questions and I'm gonna like keep it quite general and like let us all share our experiences because, you know, we're all young people in this industry and we all have like different like levels of experience. So the first question I have for you guys, and I'll probably chime in and say, so what are the new gen tools that you need to survive in today's music business climate? So I'm gonna do a duck duck goose and hand over the floor to Jodeci.
Hey everyone. So in terms of like top tips, I'd always say it's always kind of like sticking onto trends, like keeping up to date with everything. I feel like this year we saw a huge surge in like TikTok, and you find now that songs that came out years ago, songs that might be from like an artist that's kind of like undiscovered, they blow up on TikTok and then it just spreads, like they hit the charts and everything like that. So I think it's just keeping up to date with what's trending, like music wise, what genres at the moment are doing really well, like in terms of streaming and stuff like that, and just like making sure that you stay on trends as well and make sure that you're kind of aligned with them. So if you have like a campaign or you're interested in this type of like area within music industry, I think it's good to kind of know what's happening in that field and like try and get involved with it in some sort of way.
I guess it's interesting because, like, you know, I come from an artist perspective, and I know that there's a need to be a bit of a business person as well, and be like aware of what is out there and aware of that all these things like TikTok and Instagram and la di da di da are all like fun, but they're marketing tools. You know what I mean? These are absolutely to be exploited to get yourself to the next level.
Most
So
definitely. 100%. And even now, like they've announced that Instagram, you can start like earning like some sort of like monetization from Instagram streams as well. So like using those marketing tools, social media is endless, full of opportunities.
I'll stick with Instagram. I can't do the TikTok thing. I actually feel too old for TikTok. Like all the 17 and 16 and 18-year-olds that are doing the whole little, I can't do it. Not
Yeah.
for every tune. It's not my bag. I want to hand over the floor to KOSI. What do you think?
You know what, I think to that point of identifying, you know, certain platforms and how to use them, I think that's the most important thing. You know, as you say, Joe, this TikTok is about, as of last week, Clubhouse is about, there's so many new things that pop out. It's like, how do we utilize these tools to our advantage? You know, for example, jumping on a TikTok, if you ever so find that, the content that you put out doesn't necessarily fit, it's about finding your voice on those platforms. So essentially, one of the tools is being able to, effectively communicate your ideas and vision through these different platforms and identifying new ways of delivering that information. And that's probably the main tools that I would say within this new gen, are the most important things to carry with us.
Yeah. And I guess like it's tough because it is the music business side of it, because obviously you'd like to think that, oh, you make a song, it goes amazingly, and that all of these things don't come into play. But a lot of the time, this is the marketing side of it, the way that it's being sold to the masses. Like, these are all really valid points that are arguably secondary. They're not, the music does come first, but the business side is so crucial for it to go out and become classics and to be valued as music. Okay, next question. You are all very DIY. So what do you feel gave you the drive needed to attempt to climb the mountain that is the music industry? And I want to direct this over to Whitney. Hey, girl.
I could feel that you were going to call me. That's why I started smiling.
I'm so unpredictable.
I could feel it. I think for me, the number one that keeps me driven is being a fan, actually liking the music that I work on, actually liking the music that, that's out. That always keeps me driven, just being a fan of artists and their art, to be honest, and just wanting to amplify it however I can. I guess in my case, it's live and helping them transfer their music from just being on the radio or in cars to people actually seeing it in real life. But my drive comes from being a fan. Everyone I work with, I'm a really big fan of, and that keeps me driven.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. I came into this industry as a fan of music. It wasn't necessarily all the way straight to the business side. I think that me being a fan of music, like even me being in this room, I mean, you don't get this in normal Ultimate Seminar meetings where you get to be in my room
with a number one artist as well.
Well, I mean, it's not about that. It's just inner. So like, there's Janet, there's Mariah, there's Rihanna, there's Destiny's Child. Like, this is where I just get to be a fan of what I do. And then when I'm out of here, it's my job and it's what I make. But it's always good to keep that spirit alive. Like how do you feel about that, Muna? Like, how does the drive take you to want to continue in this industry?
I think for me, my drive, obviously I'm from Birmingham, innit? So like with us, there's not really an industry. So I kind of we had to make our own industry in our city. And then I had to move out here. And I guess for me, it's like, I don't know how to like put this into words, but I guess not having an industry in Birmingham made me like want to create one and showcase a lot of the talent outside of London, not just Birmingham, but Manchester, etc. So I think that's what it was for me.
Yeah, wanting to see something that escapes the four walls. You just 100%. Like want to, because I mean, I'm from London, so I'm here like all the time. But then even I grew up in Catford, so that was like a little corner. So obviously, you want to just see a part of yourself just like go elsewhere. You don't want it to start. You want it to go worldwide. You want it to like, go further than just the four walls.
Yeah.
So I feel you on that. Okay, next question. I know these are in like an order, but I kind of want to switch them around. Okay, so do you have multiple avenues of revenue, or do you do just one thing? And this is the perfect question that I'm now going to direct to Preye.
I was already unmuting myself when I heard you say that. I heard you say that part. Yeah, I mean, I've got two revenues. I've got my day job, I guess, with Sony as an A&R, and then I've got the festivals, Strawberries and Cream in the Cambridge Club. which is good. I mean, like, it's like an old age question, right? Do you put all your energy into one thing, or do you try and, I guess, spread your energy across multiple things? I think for me, I started originally with the festivals when I was at uni. We just wanted to party and put on events, and that obviously grew into Strawberries. And then when I came back from uni to London, I got the job at Columbia. And so from about 21 years old, it was really obvious to me the two things I wanted to do, and I wanted to grow. Personally, if I've ever had an opportunity to do something outside of that, I've chosen not to do it, just because I think if someone can say to me, you can have, number ones like you, bro, and have a big festival, that works for me. Do you know what I mean? I don't also need to be, I don't know, doing X, Y, Z. But I do recommend it. I think that if you can find multiple revenue streams that benefit one another and have like kind of a symbiotic relationship, it helps. And, a lot of the artists that I sign at Columbia will put on the stage at Strawberries. A lot of the people that I meet through Strawberries, like Whitney, will end up doing other things outside of live. So it's good and it helps. And hopefully it's just, more revenue and more growth for you in your career. But yeah, two's enough for me, no more. Yeah,
I mean, it can be a lot having your head in different parts, and sometimes the way this industry is set up, it can drive people crazy. It can absolutely drive people crazy to have to juggle the music side of things, the business side of things, but then also just another, like, how has that affected you even this year with Strawberries and Creem, with festival and the live thing just not being a thing?
I should be in jail. We made big losses. No, it was bad. It was bad. I mean, the thing about it, I guess, is that everyone was in the same boat. So I didn't feel like I'd been singled out. We were super, super fortunate that we ended up signing some of the company assets. Well, I guess partnering up with Sony Music, who really, really helped us get through that difficult patch. So we're okay, and I'm really grateful for that. But it's been a really bad year, as I'm sure Whitney will tell you, for live. But fingers crossed, as long as everyone stays indoors, we'll be back for next year. And I'm laughing because obviously before this conversation we were talking about how I've not been staying indoors, but I will from now on for that reason.
You're also laughing because you laugh so you don't cry.
That too.
Because that's just how the life is set up right now.
I know. But we'll
anyway. So I actually have a question in from someone who's watching. And it's okay, this is from Zoom. And this is from Samoye. Listen, I'm really bad at names, pronouncing them. So Samoye, hi. How do you create your own music industry? I feel like we need a more inclusive one here in London. I'm going to direct this to Daisy. Hi, Daisy.
Hi.
How you doing, boo?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing the best I can with what I got.
I think that's all you can do, to be honest.
I think. Yeah.
Creating your own music industry, I completely agree. I think it's similar to the last question in the sense that it's all about wearing as many hats as you possibly can, getting as much experience in as many areas as possible. For example, like I started out as a songwriter at uni, and that's what I studied. So I was always wanting to be an artist, and then very quickly kind of realised that wasn't really where my heart was, and that it was more in like the business side of things. So then got as much experience as I could in live. So I worked 2 different jobs in live, and then whilst doing that, had 2 different work experiences on the go with a management company and a small label in Manchester. And then that kind of helps you pinpoint where your interests are. But I think, especially at the moment, people, and this includes artists as well, it's all about kind of having as much experience in as many sectors as possible. And if you're a musician, that means, if you can self-produce, if you write your own songs, like it's all about wearing as many hats as possible, being able to kind of do as much as possible for yourself. I think that's the big thing with Gen Z is we're all kind of entrepreneurial and self-starting.
Yeah.
And I think it's about, just basically doing as much as you can for yourself so you're not as reliant on other people. That would be my advice with trying to set up your own, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more because I guess when it comes to creating your own music industry, like I think about the creating of a music industry. Like when I think about Motown, I think about Bad Boy, you know, where it's just like a culture is created, you know what I mean? A whole movement. It's beyond even just a record label that sells records. It's a lifestyle that you create. And I think like, I personally think that's lacking from the industry in a lot of ways. And I guess you see that sometimes in America, and even now with QC and what's the one that Summer Walker's LVRN, like all them ones where it's just like a world.
Yeah.
I mean, Muna, I've heard your name around the industry like all year, as far as just being someone who's been such a, you know, a table shaker this year, as far as being a part of the industry and really like using your vision to create things. Like how do you see creating your own music industry objectively?
I think obviously going back to obviously being from Birmingham, I kind of was forced to. So I kind of to work with the artists around me, work with the managers around me and stuff like that. So I feel like it's been a big thing for me. And even when I've come to London and started working with artists from London or Manchester and stuff like that, like you have to work with what you've got. And yeah, that I've just worked with what I've got, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you really have to. And I think that's the whole DIY thing of it all, because I think there's no templates for the kind of things that we all want to achieve in this industry. So it's kind of, you do have to improvise and just say, okay, cool, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I bring to the table that I feel could make a real impact. Okay, so let's move on to another question. Is networking becoming more of a social media based hangout? What are new ways of building your contacts in this industry? It's just a general question, like who wants to take the floor? Anybody?
I can go.
Okay.
Can you say the question one more time?
Okay. Question is networking becoming more of a social media based hangout? What are new ways to build your contacts?
I mean, I guess this year it's become a bit more of a social media hangout just because by force of the lockdown. But I mean, I'm a strong believer of doing everything face to face and getting out and meeting people. I mean, when we started the festival, everything was just done by, I guess, partying and socializing and meeting people outdoors. And
yes.
You don't, I guess that networking word is such a scary word, but we just went out and it would only be the next morning that we'd wake up and be like, oh my God, that person we met last night, maybe we can do ABC with them or XYZ. And I think it's really, really important. And whether consciously or subconsciously, it's really important networking. And I think for me, at least, I will always stick to face over social media because I think you get more out of it. I think it's more authentic. I think it's more organic. That's mine. I don't know if people agree with that, but that's just my opinion.
No, I totally agree with it. I mean, I think that it's a shame because so much of what we do is about human connection, and you don't always it's not possible to get over Zoom all the time. You know, so much of our instincts, like creative decisions, are based off of how people around us make us feel, or like those tactile connections. So I get how that can be quite difficult. I have a question on Zoom from Charlotte that I am going to hand over to Jodeci. And this question is, what advice can you give a recent graduate who is trying to get her foot in the door of the industry? How does she get that first opportunity and that one person to believe in her?
Do you know what? I would say that when I first graduated, I think a lot of people go through that time where they're like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what is next? Do you know what I mean? And I think when you're in that position, you have to just kind of think about, all right, what is feasible? Because sometimes you apply for these like big companies, the labels, sometimes you get no. A lot of times you get a lot of no's before you get a lot of yeses. A lot of times, some corporations, they want you to have experience, but that's the only way you can sometimes get experience. So I feel like finding different avenues. If someone says to you, okay, this time when you applied for this internship or this job, you didn't get it, trying to find ways to get around it. And that's exactly what I done. I applied for so many jobs when I left uni. I thought, yeah, I get a job just easy, smooth. I've got my degree. And it wasn't the case whatsoever. Biggest reality check ever. But I went around like volunteering. I've done so much free experience that probably outweighs my paid experience. The hustle is very, very real. And I don't think sometimes we even vocalize that, where it's like, okay, cool. I went to volunteer at Represent for a while, try to build up my skills there. And then I went into radio plugging for 10-letter PR and just doing loads of free work experience so that I'm able to build up those skills myself and that experience. So when someone says to me, oh yeah, can you do this job? I'm like, yeah, I may not have it behind this big brand or this big label or whatever it may be, but I've built up my experience and I have a portfolio to actually like show you what I can actually do. So just try and get experience where you can, and just try and create opportunities where possible. Because I know it's hard. It's so hard, man, honestly.
Yeah.
But just try your hardest. If someone kind of says no at this point, try find your own avenue to like go around them a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. You do. It is a fight, but you do have to just be willing to get some no's and get some rejections, because it is part of the deal.
Yeah.
You know, Kos, do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add, you know, as a fresh graduate, probably just graduated about 6 months ago. I think the only, you know, just to add to Jodeci's point, it's more so about being able to find new ways of being able to, you know, get the attention of the people that we want. Sometimes the CV in plain doesn't really do the job, especially when you've just come out of uni. It's like, how do we show someone that we have experience when we haven't had the opportunity to actually showcase our experience? So in doing so, I think it's again, going back to question one, utilizing those platforms. I guess the climate that we're in right now, the music industry, it strives off, you know, licensing and trading culture and experiences, especially youth culture.
Yeah.
Like we are speaking to a demographic of 16 to 24-year-olds. Like in music or in the music business, like I think it's more of a new thing to be able to have a 16 to 24-year-old within the building speaking to the audience. So it's like, the thing is now, it's like we need to be bold, to be, you know, behind our ideas and our and what we think is tasteful, is sexy to the people that we're speaking to, and find new ways of being able to deliver that. For example, like I've seen people getting jobs of how they use their Twitter. You know, people getting jobs of how they use their Instagram, fresh graduates, or even during school or what. For example, when I left school, when I left uni, before I even left, I think I got into the space where I had a taste of work experience, and I told myself then that, you know what, this is what I want, and I'm not having anything else. So I started sending out like mock, you know, marketing decks to independent artists, to certain people, just so I can get a taste of what it is, you know, or what it meant to do, what that role that I wanted, you know, to be in was. So again, to Jodeci's point, that free work, that goes a long way, and just being able to plug yourself in different areas, and continuously being vocal about what it is that you want.
Yeah, I've got to say 100%. I think moving with intention is the main thing. Yeah, it's like having absolute, like, clear vision and saying that this is what I want to achieve. And there can be gray areas within that, but the clarity is absolutely key. Okay, so now I have a question. I have a question for you, Whitney. Is that okay? Hey,
always.
Okay, so this question I have for you is this. This is from Adam. So hi, Adam. Adam Sharp on Zoom. And his question is, what can the industry do to implement music business jobs in schools?
I think they should work alongside them, actually. I think it would be cool to see major labels, major, you know, touring companies, even kind of even offer internships to uni students for once they come out, even if it's just 2 a year. I think that would be brilliant if they could, you know, link up and actually do the work to get some fresh people in. Because I know there's a lot of nepotism in the industry, which I'm not against, because, you know, if you want to help somebody, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think there needs to be a fair playing field. And I think a great way to do that would be if, you know, universities or even colleges could link up with majors and try and, you know, offer internships for new people that want to be in the industry.
Wait, you just paused. Yeah, I don't know whether it's my internet or something that happened, but there was like a long pause. So apologies.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I'm not sure where I left off.
Wait, no, it's gosh, I don't know whether it's my internet connection or something, but it's made that so difficult to wait. Okay. So with that question, from what you said, Whitney, I agree with you in a lot of ways in that it's really, when it comes down to the music industry, there's no one saying, okay, like there's no way of knowing what the other side of the industry is saying. You know, there's no way of saying, okay, you go to stage schools and you say, yeah, I want to be a performer, I want to be a singer or a dancer or anything like that. But then what about the people who want to be a lawyer in the industry, the people who want to be a director, the people who want to be A&R, the people who want to be, you know, scouts? You know, there's no schooling for that, or there's no science to that. And I think there's people in the industry who feel like they want to express those capabilities as opposed to feeling like, you know, even like you, Daisy, like you said that you came from a songwriter perspective and then decided to go into the industry. Like, what was that like for you?
I was lucky in the sense that when I came to that decision, it was a year in on a songwriting degree at a music uni. So it felt like, although I still had 2 years to go of a songwriting degree, I could specialise and pick and choose modules that suited kind of music business side of things. So I did modules in music publishing, in digital marketing, that kind of thing, just to kind of explore where my interest actually lay. So I was quite lucky in that sense. In regards to what, you know, the question was, I know that we are currently looking into how we can do that. I'm working with specific schools across London to get in basically and provide specific lessons in, you know, across things that we offer across the board in BMG. So in legal, in music law, in A&R, in publishing, and, you know, across the board. So hopefully that's something that we can do more and more frequently, and it will start to happen in labels across the country.
So I have a question that is kind of like a widespread thing, because like I said, you know, we're all young people in this industry. We could probably been doing this for like 5 to 10 years, sometimes a bit more, but then like we're still like 20s, 30s, we're here. What I want to know is, do you guys feel considered by your senior peers in the music industry, or do you feel the need to overprove yourself? Preye.
Oh no. do we feel like we need to overprove ourselves? Do you know what? I can only speak for myself. I try not to look left and right, to be honest. I know what my own race I want to run in, and I want to prove it to myself. So when I start, you know, I'm super clear about it. I want, you know, the festival to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the country. And I want to, you know, keep moving up the ladder as A&R. And I think I want to do whatever it takes to realize those goals. And I guess the proving myself to my seniors doesn't come because I really want to, I guess, impress them. It comes because I want to get to that end goal. And if they are impressed, even better. Do you know what I mean? But I guess the way that I try and focus on my work is just focusing on me and being as good as I can be. And if that, you know, impresses other people, then even better. Yeah.
I mean, how about you, Muna, as someone who's like, I mean, how old are you, Muna?
21.
This is it.
You're flying.
This is it. You're a baby. And that's weird for me to even say, because I was the baby in this industry for the longest time. So, like, you know, how's that for you? You know, there's obviously people who are much older and have been in this, doing this for years and tens of years. Do you ever feel a pressure?
I think I used to. I don't think as much anymore, just because I don't give a sorry. give a shit. But yeah, so I don't feel like it affects me as much as it used to. I think when obviously I first started out, I did feel like sometimes I kind of had to prove myself, because a lot of people were thinking, who's this 21-year-old? She's not even from London. Like she's doing what she's doing. So I did feel like at first, yeah, I did care. But I think now, like Preye said, I'm in a race with myself, man. Like I'm having my own journey, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. So I don't really care about whether senior people like it or not. If you do, that's great. But if you don't, I don't care either. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess putting too much energy into that thought is like, of course, there's people who like, sometimes when you're a baby in the industry, you see older people there and you're like, okay, cool. Like, you know, you're who I aspire to be. You're my mentor in this. But then it doesn't have to be, that doesn't have to be a negative thing. That doesn't have to be a pressure. That can be, it's just a simple exchange of, you know, the hierarchy of this industry. If there's people out there looking out for you, you know, when I got in the industry, there were absolutely people who've been looking out for me from day, who had been doing this 10, 20 years prior to what I was doing it for. So it's beautiful to have those people, but it shouldn't feel like a pressure or feel like you need to get to their stage like now. You know, that's, everyone's journey is different. So
I agree. And I feel like that's one thing I'll say to like the people watching who are young as well. Like when you're getting into the industry, don't feel like you're in a rush, man. Everyone's learning on the job and it's not how it looks. So yeah.
No, I agree. We're all learning on job, literally, still.
Exactly.
Okay, so this one is from Zoom and it's from Ty. Hi, Ty. Okay. Good afternoon, guys. To the whole panel, MNEK included, what's something you know now that you wish you had known before you became a part of this industry? Maybe I should start, because what's something you wish you knew? I guess I wish that I knew that a lot of everything that goes on in the industry is just superficial. You know, it's very like face value. I guess that sometimes, because when I got into the industry, just from the core love of music, like period, like all I wanted to do was just make songs. And I think that sometimes when you're an artist in the industry and you're trying to, you know, secure this and secure that, sometimes it becomes a bit of a business and it takes away like the soul of it. And that used to bring me down sometimes, until I was able to divide the two and just be like, okay, look, this is what I do. This is something that I have come into the industry for. The promo, all of the extracurricular things and tedious things that it may seem like are all extensions of it. And that's something that I've had to learn how to come to terms with, and also to be good at, because I think, and I was probably reluctant to submit to, okay, industry head, okay, business head, businessman, like thinking in that way. It's really important, because I think even if you don't want to do that, sure, but I think for me, knowing that I wanted success and I wanted to thrive, and you know, the want for success means that you have to work for it. And so I'm aware of what work I have to do in order to maintain my success. And I'm aware that that is work, and that shouldn't harm my feelings about the music making process. So that's what I've learned. Jodeci?
Do you know what? I feel like one thing that I learned coming into this industry is fully just...
Wait, sorry, the question was, what do you wish you had known before you became a part of the industry?
Right, before I came into this industry, I think it's very similar to you, where it's like taking in the face value of things, but also we're forever learning. It's like when you're in this industry, things are forever changing. It's a very fast-paced industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's not like one of those jobs that, okay, when you reach like a certain like management level or whatever it is, like it stops there and it's just like just a normal kind of job that, you know, you've learned what you've learned and then that's it. No, it's forever changing. You're forever adapting. And I think
Yeah.
that's one thing is just being adaptable to everything that's thrown at you. Because a lot of times things change, things trend, things don't trend. You have a hit and a miss on a project. And I think it's just being able to be as adaptable as you can to those situations when they arise. And I think I've learned that I deeped it, but now I'm fully like in the game where I'm like, all right, cool. This is what it is now, guys. Like it's Hunger Games season, isn't it? You're just getting thrown things and you're dipping and diving. But I think it's just knowing that, you know, you've got this in the end, whether you're coming into this industry, whether you're at it now, whether you're young or old, it's just that, just know and understand that you've got this, and whatever you're faced with, you'll survive.
Yeah, 100%. How about you, Daisy? What do you think?
I think for me, the main thing I wish I had known is that mistakes are absolutely necessary. I was definitely a person, like coming into the industry, I was definitely a person that would absolutely, you know, kick myself and feel horrendous about, you know, making mistakes, and it would haunt me. And that made getting into the industry and doing, you know, tons and tons of interviews that would go wrong, and I'd not get the job. And that whole process was really difficult. And even when I got my internship, I then struggled because it's obviously you go into a job and you don't know anything, you don't know what you're doing, and you do make mistakes because they're inevitable. And the recovery time after making a mistake would just, you know, it'd just be really long because I'd kick myself so much. But I think I've got to the stage now where I've realised they're really important. You know, mistakes are the biggest learning, you know, curve that you can make, really. So it's important that you make them, and that you basically just take something from them and learn from them, and then you grow as a person.
I mean, 100%. Like, you can't always get it right. You can't always know what you're doing. I think that's the main thing. Some things are amazing, like accidents can come out of, you know, some of these mistakes or so-called mistakes. So, I mean, yeah, you kind of have to know that to come out the other side, or to know what the other side looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's a really valid point, Daisy. How about you, KOSI? What do you think? As far as like, what do you wish you knew before you enter this industry?
Wow. So many, like 400 things run into my mind as soon as that question was asked. But I guess one of them, be human. And that sounds as silly as it sounds, but human errors are a thing that happen absolutely every single day within the industry. And it's like you have to adapt, you have to find a solution. That's just one of the things. I guess the other point is the fact that everything is tangible. I guess like when you're looking at everything from like the bird's eye view, and you're seeing, you know, people getting these opportunities, I think the moment you step into the ideology of, you know what, I can actually knock out anything and everything that I set my mind to, I think this industry really made it, you know, very apparent that it's everything is tangible, everything's at our fingertips, not just within the industry per se, but within the climate that we're in. It's like whatever we want to get, we can literally get it. We just have to, you know, expand our realm of thinking and be able to see and identify certain things that we've never really tapped into before. But the main thing in this industry that I wish I would have known before, that there is no such thing as a perfect campaign. I wish I would have known that before. Like, there is no such thing as a perfect campaign. It's like you can have the ultimate plan by the geniuses of the geniuses of the world, and it's still genuinely, but we have to be prepared for that. And I think from the outside, we look at this industry as if it's something that's perfect and everything always goes right. But in reality, things go left all the time. And it's a matter of being able to patch it up and find a way through.
Plans really change, and like people leave the project, and, you know, singles get changed and albums get redone altogether. Like nothing is ever really the most smooth running situation. So that's also true.
Also prepare for it to take over your life as well, because it's so, like it's so much work, isn't it?
Let the church say amen.
Yeah, so prepare for it to take up most of your life. I wish I knew. I probably wouldn't have rushed into the industry so early if that was the case. But yeah, takes up so much of your life, honestly.
Which is
it can be very draining, even though it's a great job as well. Like, you're giving a lot of yourself to people 24/7.
Yeah,
Do you know
I mean,
what
I guess because it's such a vocational job, you know, I think that obviously sometimes it can seem black and white and something you can remove yourself from, but music like is the soundtrack to so many people's lives. And so you're playing a massive part in that. And so the intense thing that you're doing it's naturally to the cause. So that's also true. That actually weaves nicely into this next question I have, also on Zoom, from I don't want to get the name wrong. Okay, Laken, you, to everyone. What's the best way for independent artists to balance their time on being creative as well as spending time on social media? Because I think for me, personally, I know that I get social media, like as far as like the construct and what it's supposed to do for people, but I really get ticked off when like my management are getting on my case about doing a TikTok or like doing an Insta post, or as if that is what I'm supposed to be doing in this life of sin. But hey, I get it in the context, you know what I mean? I do, but sometimes there was a time when I released my album a couple years ago that I was spending a lot of time on social media and really like looking at it and strategizing and looking at my numbers, and that comes with balance because it's a part of a business, but at the same time it can't be your life. You know what I mean? It actually can't be your life. It can be a part of your life, but social media is a very addictive thing in itself. So I mean, that's why some people have social media teams. You know what I mean? Even the biggest artists in the world have social media teams because they know that social media can be a toxic place. So they make sure to have their voice out there, but they don't need to be like on the Instagram or the TikTok all day, every day. So they can focus on things that actually better them as people, like making music. So that's my opinion on that. What do you feel, Preye, as far as the relationship between social media, being creative, the balance of time you spend doing that?
Well, I think you nailed it earlier when you said you called it an extracurricular activity. I think like for me, and maybe this isn't the right way to think about it, but I look at it as you've got the music, you make the tunes, that's really important, and then you've got everything around it which helps embellish that music. And obviously, as you said, like the social media and all that stuff is super important. But I think for me at least, you have to be, I guess, putting as much attention into that music as possible, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, and that's what it's about. And that's not taking away from the social media at all, but based on that question about where you should be dividing your time, I think if you've got brilliant music, you know, we can figure out the other stuff. But I think if you're missing that first and that main component, everything's much harder. So yeah, definitely be doing both, but keep focusing on your creativity and your music and what you're presenting, and everything else. Hopefully we can figure out around it.
This is it. Okay, question on Zoom from Veronica. Tips for independent artists who don't have industry connections. This is going to Jodeci.
Okay, so just kind of connecting that to the last question and stuff, I would say when you're looking at like, okay, you're an independent artist, you may have certain budgets that you're working with. So the first thing I'd say that if you can't connect with like a social media team or anything like that, I'd always advise on having like a content rollout plan, which I never really learned about until I started getting into the in-depth kind of situation where people have teams, where it's basically like a little rollout plan, like a little calendar. And let's say, for example, you know that you've got like a single coming out or an EP and stuff, writing down all your content that's coming out, whether it's like a local interview at like a radio station, write out all the content that you have and then list it out when you want to drop it and stuff like that. So you have that off your brain. It's on paper. You just have to post, or you can schedule tweets or whatever it is when it comes to it. And then when it comes to like the music side, I'd say when you're getting your music out in terms of like radio play, connect with local radio stations like Represent, like you've got The Beat as well. There's like, if you can't get directly to the Radio 1s and the Capital Extras, try reach out to local DJs and presenters or like local YouTubers to like review your music. There is radio pluggers out there that can do that for you, but then obviously that comes with a fee. So it's just kind of working towards what your budget is. And then, yeah, and just in terms of like live shows or live performances and stuff, I would just like try and network with as many like local live events as possible. A lot of people have open mics, stuff like I Love Live as well is like a sick kind of like performance space where people go and they perform. So just try and utilize what is reachable to you at the moment, and what works kind of best for you at the time.
Hi. Yep. Flop. Okay. So Muna, I want to ask you the same question. Tips for independent artists who don't have the industry connections.
I think do your research, find out who's who in the industry, reach out to like local radio stations like Jodeci said, reach out to, I don't know, maybe A&Rs, bloggers, PRs, just get as much attention that you can from people, and put together, I guess, like a deck or like a one sheet of your stats and everything and the artist that you are and your music and stuff. And yeah, just reach out to people. Because a lot of people actually read their emails, even though a lot of us don't, but we actually do. Some of us actually read our emails. So yeah, you never know who might see your stuff. Do you know what I mean?
So don't put us on blast.
I said some of us do.
I think, and also to add to that as well, Moons, I think that, and everyone should email Moona, by the way, because she is the plug. So Moona, put your email at the bottom. but I actually think like everyone always, I think a lot of time people think with cold emails that people won't read them because they don't have that relationship. But like no one really knows where like the new Adele or Ed Sheeran or Beyonce is going to be and is coming from. And so at least in my life, I try and read every single email because you never really know. And I think for people starting out in the industry, you should go in with that confidence to know that people are going to respond to those emails and people are going to take those meetings. Because at the end of the day, all everyone's really looking for is good music, right? And that can come from anywhere. So many of the relationships I've got now have been from people that I didn't know, who I randomly emailed them or vice versa. And I think that's quite a good thing about our industry, that, you know, people are open for those meetings because we're all looking for the same thing.
Whew, that is a word. Okay, and here's an interesting question that I want to direct to Whitney. Hey now. Name a hurdle that you know has impacted your career.
Hurdle. I don't like to look at things as hurdles, and not to be cliche, because I've learned so much from the things that went wrong.
Of course.
But I haven't had the perfect career, but I haven't had a significant hurdle. I think something that I struggled with was coming back to work from maternity, because being absent in the industry where you need to be visible a lot of the time, for 10 months, it's like I felt like I had a lot to prove. I had a lot of things that I needed to try and get done and get out and kind of remind people that I was back. And I found that quite hard, especially trying to balance with motherhood as well. I think that was my biggest challenge so far. I still kind of, well, now it's easier because I'm at home, but I guess during my career, that's still quite a big thing for me, trying to find the balance between motherhood and also trying to kind of forcefully remind people that I'm still here, even though I'm a mum, and I can still do everything I could do 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that is such an eye-opener. I guess that when there's something else, I mean, I've obviously never been pregnant, but like, I'm aware that like when you have a kid, it opens up your purpose and it opens up like totally what you're doing it for. So
yeah, it's got a lot more to fight for.
Oh yeah.
like the accolades from everyone else goes out of the window. You have literal legacy that is here every day that you kind of need to try and carry on to somebody else. It adds 10 times more pressure, but in a good way, to kind of fight to make sure that you're doing the right things in your job and kind of trailing upwards and not backwards.
Yeah, it has to be an upward direction. Okay, next question we have is, I'm looking through the ones that we have because there's a bunch. Okay, so I'm gonna direct this to KOSI. What and who inspires you in today's music business?
Ooh. This very panel, like just look at the panel itself, like just knowing that we are now in a space where the music has, you know, representation, like from the spectrum is wide, you know what I mean? Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, this didn't exist. Like looking at the industry like we were all trying to find, or I myself was trying to find, you know, people that I could associate with, people that I could sort of find myself in, people that I could, you know, that represented what I represented. And the music industry today is full of those people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that inspires me to continue to push, and knowing that, you know what, we're not alone. Munya's there talking about creating an industry of our own. She's done that. Preye is there talking about festivals, done that. So knowing that there are people within our space that are currently shapeshifters and are creating incredible things, that's inspiring, you know what I mean? So that's what inspires me today, is the fact that there's so many young people that are not taking no for an answer. It's like, yo, this is what we want to do. This is the industry that we see. This is what we're going to carve out of it. And, you know, when we're looking back in the 90s, when you see in the likes of, you know, the Diddy's and the Bad Boys and Irv Gotti's and how they rocked with their movement, it's like, this is what is happening today. So that's what's inspiring to me, seeing that people are taking the industry and molding it into what they want it to be. I mean, we are the voices, right? It's the youth that we're talking. So
it's 100% creating your own industry. It's like what was said earlier. And that even segues into the question I've just gotten now really nicely. You know, Charlotte has asked, well, said, it's so amazing to see so much representation of females and also women of color and men of color in the industry. Do you see a shift in diversity within the industry, and what more do you think can be done for the next gen? So I'm going to give this over to Muna.
Why do you love drawing me out, man?
What? I'm look, this is dip dude. This is just by default, baby. Don't put it on me. I dip and I do.
I feel like there's definitely more representation. I feel like there needs to be more though. I won't lie. I feel like there's a lot of work to be done behind the scenes. There's still not a lot of people of color in senior places in the industry. Obviously there's a lot, but there's still room for more, 100%. But yeah, it's a good time, man. I can't lie. Like, it's good to see all my Black brothers and sisters in the industry right now doing what they're doing. So yeah, man, it's our time.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful to be in a room that is like so filled with, you know, different experiences. That's the thing. It's like I'm happy to like that we're all getting to talk about this together, and that I'm seeing so many people of so many different backgrounds and so many different experiences, and it's beautiful to be a part of. I'm glad that I'm in this industry, you know, and it's not like always, you know, that kind of like narrative that you see where it's just not, you're not seeing yourself represented. Kind of like what KOSI was saying, like it's just not seeing yourself represented is not what life's about. And I don't think it's that's something that we should take for granted, most definitely. Okay, let me see what the other questions are. Okay, this one's for you, Daisy. This is from Poppy. And Poppy has asked, wait, okay. Okay, this is the new question that's come in. This is a question from Iffy. The music industry is oversaturated with so many artists and musicians starting out. How do you, or what can you do to stand out from the crowd to pick up a decent manager or representative, new followers, etc., etc.?
It's really difficult, and you're completely right in the sense that like social media, especially during this like pandemic, is massively oversaturated. There's so much noise that it's even harder to kind of stick through and stand out. I think the main thing you can do is just be your authentic self, because I think it's so easy to tell the people that have been manufactured by labels or are trying to manufacture themselves into something that they're not, and that doesn't cut through at all. That just looks like every other influencer that's ever existed. Do you know what I mean? So I think being your authentic self, standing up for what you believe in, what your interests are, and just, I think that's the only thing you can do. Don't use social media to be someone you're not, because I just think that's toxic, and it won't get you anywhere, basically. So yeah, that would probably be my advice from that.
It's hard to not be to be someone you're not, because all them fun filters.
I know it's so tempting, and it gives so easy to do nowadays. Is you can be a completely different person online, but I think as soon as anyone the people that are pretending to be other people online all kind of end up being each other, basically. So I think that the people that stand out are authentic musicians and authentic artists and creatives, who it's transparent, and you know what they stand for, and you know that it's genuine, and that what they're doing they're genuinely passionate about. So I think that's really important in order to cut through all the noise. Yeah.
And sometimes things like that feel like, it's true. It doesn't sound all like what do you call it? Sophisticated in the sense that it's like, oh yeah, like be yourself. But it's true. It's so true. Like being yourself does always win, because even if you get success being someone else, it all comes crashing down eventually. You know what I mean? In some way.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up, false, appearances for the rest of your life, and you don't want to live like that anyway. So I think, as cliche as it sounds, it is completely all about being yourself.
Yeah. Be yourself. Okay. Next question is, okay, someone's asked me a question, but I mean, I don't know if I have all the answers as far as like steps and marketing, because that is not my job. Okay, wait, let's see. What have we got? I'm like the worst moderator in the world. Okay. This is a question for Preye. What scares you?
Is that the end of the question?
Yeah. That's the question. What scares you? Period.
Oh, what scares me?
Maybe it's about what scares you about being in the industry, or what scares you about even the future of the industry.
Okay, I got what scares me about the industry, I think, and we've touched on it quite a bit. It's like there's so much about this industry that is not to do with music, and as we all know, there's many parts of this industry that I think can be quite dark and quite nasty. And I'm just here for a good time, to be honest, and to do my work. And I guess that aspect of the industry I know exists. I guess we all have to be involved in it because that's our jobs. I don't really like it, and I would like, hopefully, as we continue to grow and the industry develops, there's less of it. But it's definitely something I'm aware of and quite scared of. But it's the music industry, right?
I mean, how about you, KOSI? Like, there's a bunch of scary shit in this industry.
I think what scares me the most, especially from a marketing perspective, is no innovation. I feel like having a box cut marketing mix that every single artist uses scares me. Like, no point of difference in how we communicate records, no point of difference in how we, showcase certain things. I feel like the moment that we start becoming innovative as an industry, that would be a scary point. And just going back to the fact that, there's so many new artists, so much new music on a daily basis. How do you stand out? I feel like the moment that we stop asking ourselves that question of how do we stand out would be a scary moment. you know, for us, everything will be box cut standard, everything the same. That is a very scary, you know, the thing to think about.
This is like a question from someone anonymous who's asked, has anyone ever experienced imposter syndrome when landing a role, and how have they dealt with that? Miss Moonturn?
Yeah. Me, I feel like I've got imposter syndrome 100% because I always question myself and like doubt myself a bit. I feel like that's a natural human instinct to kind of doubt yourself sometimes. But yeah, you just learn to kind of, I feel like whenever I feel like that, I call Preye and Preye gasses me up. So like, yeah, that's my confidence.
Yeah, is that you? I love this. Camaraderie.
Moon is my bestie, man. I've got to look after each other.
That's the thing. That looking up, like knowing that it's great when there is people who look like you and are around and can actually have your back in them scenarios and tell you, no, you're killing it. You're doing great. Continue. So
no, that definitely helps a lot.
What's that?
No, I said that definitely helps a lot. Like having people in your corner, like Preye, who support you. I feel like there's more of that we need, like more olders supporting the younger lot. I wouldn't say Preyes are older, but you know what I mean, like people older than me, supporting.
Luna's trying to kick me out already. You know, I'm team olders already. Really, go away.
You're a big man, but you're not 30, innit? It's all right. Don't worry.
How old are you, Preye?
I just turned 27 last week.
Oh wait, are you a Scorpio as well?
I think so. I'm not very good at star signs.
Wait, when's your birthday?
He's a Libra.
But what day is your birthday?
19th.
I'm the 9th.
Are you? I'm not very good at star signs, guys. I feel really bad.
No, that's me.
Aren't you a Libra?
I don't know. I'm October 19th.
Oh, you're October?
Yeah.
You said last week.
Last month, sorry, not last week. Last month.
Right.
What does that mean? Libra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah. Libras are great.
Good. Yeah.
No, we love Libras. They're great. Okay, so I'm looking through the questions now. No, the imposter syndrome question is interesting because, like, you know, even me, like as far as me, like I know that I'm good at writing and producing and singing, but there have been certain situations where I found myself being like, how did I blag this? Like, why is it me that's doing this? Or why am I here? Like, there's people who are so much better than me who can be doing this. And it's like, it's not about that. It's actually about the fact that this is the opportunity that you've been given, and then you have to apply yourself and really give your best self. And your best self is clearly there because you're here to achieve it. Nice. That's what I try to remember whenever I get a bout of imposter syndrome, because I know that I'm here for a reason. I'm not here like to catch vibes. Like, I'm here to like actually like do something with it. So that's like my perspective on that, the imposter syndrome thing. Oh, we have a question from YouTube. From Carol. That's a very interesting way to spell Carol. Hi, Carol. I hope it's Carol. Advice for someone starting an early career in A&R, especially during COVID with networking being limited. Can I hand this over to Preye? What do you feel about the being an A&R, starting an early A&R career during COVID with the networking being limited?
You've got to ask my boss, Moona, no? No, yeah. I don't think it is. It's definitely harder because of the pandemic. But I think for me at least, and Moon, correct me if I'm wrong, I just think the A&R game is not something that you need to start if you're being paid to do it by a company. I think like fundamentally all A&R is, we need to, we want to find, MNEK effectively and find amazing artists. And I don't think, you can do that, as Moon has said, in London, you can do that in Birmingham, you can do that whether you're 18 or 48. I think you just got to be really, really active. And obviously with the lockdown, that's made things a little trickier. You can't go to gigs, you can't have meetings, you know, we're not even allowed in the studios as much as we used to be, but I think you can still be active. As Moon has said, like, you know, people are still reading all their emails, people are doing Zoom calls all day, every day. It's still happening. We're still signing artists as a record label, and we're still finding new people. So I think just spend some time working out the best way for you personally to find that music. Some people spend all their days on TikTok. Some people spend all their days on YouTube. Some people go through the playlist on BBC Introducing all day. Whatever really works for you, but it's the artists are out there. We've just got to find them, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, and this one is for you, Whitney. This is in regards to the live sector of the industry.
That's for me and Preye. Yeah, drawing you out, sorry.
So, how do you think music will move forward during and post-COVID when it comes to the live sector?
I think when live comes back, it's going to be crazy outside. I think there are going to be concerts and festivals and opportunities to perform day in, day out. It's just when that's going to be. Nobody knows. But I think when it does get up and running, like even people that I know that don't really go to concerts have missed concerts. I think everyone's itching to be in a live space. So I think when it does come back, it's going to blow up, literally.
Everyone misses the choice.
Yeah.
Like everyone misses, like, you know, like going out to see a concert. There have been times when people invite me to go to a concert, or like artists I've worked with have been like, oh, come to my show. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to come to the next one. Because, you know.
Yeah, you think you have all the time to just stay in bed. Like when it comes back, I remember saying to Kwame, like, I'm actually going to roll around on the floor in Glastonbury. I'm going to be everywhere. I don't think I'm going to be.
Oh, I can't agree with the Glastonbury one. I can't
you're going to be joining me. I'm going to be in the mud. I can't wait to be out.
Oh, God. I actually did Glastonbury one year, like in 2014. And like my outfit got ripped. It was just mud everywhere. We had to walk from Glastonbury to the cottage. And like, it was just...
I've heard it's mad. I've never been, but I will go next year because now I've learned that I need to go everywhere. So I'm going to Glasgow.
It's something to cherish. It's something to cherish. Like, okay, so this is a question from Anonymous, not spelled anonymous or anything, but you guys have mentioned age quite a bit. So, do A&Rs care about this when looking for talent? Very interesting question. I mean, I'm coming from someone who's been in the industry since I was 14, and so much of the hoopla around of my career was that I was so young. Now no one cares because I'm 26 and that's just like normal, and you're an adult and that you don't have to, okay, you're not special. You ain't special. But yeah, I mean, I know from my experience that age was such a massive thing that was the hoopla about why I was in the industry or how long I'd been in the industry. I mean, what do you think as far as like A&Rs, they care about looking for, when it comes to looking for talent, do you think age comes to mind? I'm gonna leave it open to the panel.
I wouldn't, yeah, not necessarily. I don't think I always think about age. Obviously, if I find a young talent, it always helps, but I'm not necessarily just looking at age, if I'm being honest. But I do feel like it can be an advantage for some.
Like, I guess, like, would you, okay, so if you noticed that an artist was noticeably older than like the 16 to 24 or the 25 to 30 demographic, would that be an issue?
Not really, no.
I don't think so. Like, Una, how often do we talk about artists and we very, very rarely mention age?
Yeah.
I think you'd like to think, in theory, that the first thing's the music and then everything else comes after it. But yeah, and I think that happens a lot of the time in reality. I just want to work with amazing artists. Do you know what I mean? Everything else you can figure out afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know, I mean, I've had, you know, friends or people that I know who have dilly-dallied with the concepts of stage ages and, you know, feeling insecure about being a bit older or feeling like they have to hide their age. just because of like the bias that comes with it, you know, that there's so much, I think that objectively, when you look at like press or when you look at like even just outside of the industry, there's, you know, yeah, there's just so much judgment. But I've always been the kind of person that's like, yeah, chill. It's the music comes first anyway. You know what I mean? Like there's so many rappers who come in at any age whenever they want to.
Someone in the comments said Skepta is a 38-year-old rapper.
Literally, sorry, Jay-Z's almost 50. Like everyone's turning 50 now. If Jay-Z brought out a new song now, everyone's on it. Like I think music always comes first.
Hey Whitney, I'm 50, you know, ease up on that, yeah?
I'm sorry, Kwame, sorry. But this is a good lane to be in. I said Jay-Z. This is the top level of 50.
Yeah, it's a great level of 50. Okay, this is the last question. So I want to make sure that I ask a good one because there's loads of that have come up on my screen. But guys, I've really enjoyed doing this with you all. This has been really fun. It's been nice to converse. Okay. All right, well, this is a heavy one, but it's real. So, as young A&Rs and people in the industry of color, why do you think we have so few, if any, Black artists of color who smash it on the global stage? Not since Sade, Gabrielle, Seal, or Craig David have we had an international solo act of color topping the global scene. What are you new young guns gonna do about it?
We're gonna mash work. That's what we're gonna do.
Can someone please tweet that? We're gonna mash work.
Yeah, I love that.
Tweet
that. We're gonna mash work for sure.
I wanted to leave out the middle bit because I feel like there was shade in there, but like it's we have to. I think that all of that is I guess like the question is, why haven't we? Like, what does it take for an artist of color or Black artists to be able to smash on the global stage as much as the white counterparts?
It's a hard one. From my perspective, I can only talk about being in the industry for like 5 years now, right? And what I would plan to do and what I think I've seen everyone else on this panel do, just like through social media and stuff, is that we're working to create an industry that represents more than what we've seen. And I think that's what the main focus is, isn't it? Like for me, when I joined Represent, or when I even joined Vevo, it was all about me having representation, like seeing people that I see around me being represented in commercial platforms. And do you know what I mean? So I think we are working on it, and I strongly believe that everyone on this panel is going to make sick moves because they've smashed it already, but I believe that more moves are happening and the shift is going to come. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for seeing any person that looks like me, lighter, darker, any type of nationality being represented as a global star, because we have global stars in our scene. And I think that change needs to happen, and it is going to come.
Anyone get any last points to add on? Because this is the last segment of the panel before I round it all up and give everyone the goodbyes.
I just want to say that I'm hungry.
Me too.
And as aforementioned, the young retweet is deserved for that statement, because I could do
a little cutie in there because I'm hungry as well. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
A young cutie.
Twitter is already #mashwork already.
Yeah.
It's already.
You're a revolutionary, a visionary. But guys, thank you so much. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for watching. This has been an amazing panel. It's been great to go through all these questions and be amongst, so many amazing people in the industry, so many people that I admire, that I'm now getting to meet all of you properly, obviously virtually, but every line of meeting matters and is valued. So can everyone tell the people on this panel, or webinar, as Zoom is calling it, does anyone want to give their socials or their modes of contact or their way of, like, you know?
You know, it's all in the book. There is a book. There's a digital booklet with everybody's IG, blah, this, that, XYZ.
A book?
Already. Yeah, man. There's a book. Listen, we don't ramp.
What?
Seriously,
Oh.
there is a book. You're all up in it too.
Let me find out about this book.
Listen, watch it now, man. I'm going to show you it right now. Wait.
Where? Okay, are you going to share your screen?
Listen, not even going to watch now. Everybody's listen. People, stop tweeting. I know you lot are mad on the panel, on the attendees. Hold it. Attendees, just chill on that. Hey, you see this? I've just put me all to the panelists. Okay. Can you see that? I've just
all right. Oh, this is some sugar.
Yeah. Come on now.
This isn't a joke. This isn't a joke. Bloodseed.
Absolutely. And if you click on anything, Instagram, anybody's Instagram, it goes straight there. Mash work. Hashtag. Come on now.
Mash work.
Mash work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, is this me signing out? Is this us signing out as a unit?
Yeah, it is. But before you go, listen, I really, and we, that's Kwame, that's Andrea, that's Nikki, Charles, but it's now Osei because she just got married. I just want to say, listen, you've all been wonderful. You can tell by the way that this is the side chat is going, but you've been amazing. It's been incredible to watch. I'm so glad that the future is in your hands. That makes me very, very, very happy. I want to thank MNEK because we knew that you would be a great moderator, right? Definitely. I want to thank Preye. Keep doing your thing. I love that you have Strawberries and Cream, and I love that you also are holding down things at Columbia. Respect to you, muchos. All right? Muna, I'm very glad because you, Mom, are a proper trailblazer. So when we heard about you, we were like, we have to have her on this. Okay? So that's what I'll say. Daisy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and doing what you've done today. Jodeci Chin, come on now. Yes. Come on. KOSI, yes. Power. Whitney, come on, man.
Can you hear the H before the like? Oh, yes.
Come on, you people. As I said, happy the future's in your hands. That's why we set this thing up.